Hi, good morning. So, electronics and IoT is not only about hardware, firmware, software, clouds, and apps. It is also full of many interesting journeys filled with fun, challenges, frustration, and triumph. So, today I will tell you about one such journey. I will tell you the story behind the IoT development board. I will tell you the story of WishTree board. Okay, so if you are a maker, entrepreneur or a startup owner will find a lot of important pointers from the story about current scenario in IoT industry in India. So let's begin. So before we get into the story, let me give you some context. Okay, so here I have one WishTree IoT development kit. Okay, let us see what is inside. So inside there we can see the main board, the WishTree board fitted with ESP32. This board also runs on ESP8266. Here we can see the A6 mini GSM module. Here is the LoRa module. Here we can see two types of GSM antenna, and here is the LoRa antenna. Okay, so this is the full development kit. But what we are mainly interested today is this motherboard, this WishTree board. So this board run on both ESP32 and ESP8266, and we run Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, BLE, GSM, LoRa all on this single board. So this is currently our go-to board for any new IoT development project. So let us see how it got up to this point. So if you are a maker or you are into building and selling enterprise IoT solutions, each project is different. It has got different sensors, it uses different communication method, it has got different topology. So say for example, a GPS tracker sending data over to cloud using GSM network, a home automation device using the home Wi-Fi network, then we have Bluetooth, BLE, then we have Modbus in factory, then we have devices that trip a pump when there is a dry run, then there are devices that detect diesel theft from the easy set. So for each project you need a suitable device. So if a device has to be built, it has to be built, so you need time and budget. But for any project, at least for IoT projects, before you can back the real project, you need to execute a successful POC. What is POC? Proof of concept. Why do we need to do a POC before the real project? Because customers are still skeptic about IoT. They want to see successful implementation in front of their eyes. And the second point is there is a lot of human behavior and psychology involved, because IoT solutions many a times track people, monitor material. So that is why how people will react to the solution, that is the second point they want to see before they put in their money. Okay, so that is why you need to do the POC. And what kind of time and budget do you get for a POC? You get 2 weeks to max 1 month, and budget is very low or sometimes nil. So here's the catch. You can do the project, just you need some time and budget. Any IT solution has mainly three parts: the hardware plus firmware, the cloud, and the front end or a mobile app. So the cloud part and the front end part can be handled in 2 weeks to 1 month, because we already have some reusable asset. We can just tweak them and make something minimum which is needed for the POC. But a hardware cannot be built in 2 weeks to 1 month, especially if it is something special. You need to source some new material. So you have design, you have fabrication, testing, and it may not be right for the first time. So you cannot build a hardware in 2 weeks to 1 month time. And also in the POC, the quantity requirement is very low, like 3 to 5 devices at max. So it is not economical to make new design for 3 to 5 devices only. Customer asks what is the price per device, and it don't really make a sense. So you also cannot go for large number of boards like 500,000, because the project may not get through, the project may not happen at all, or you may not win the project. And also if there is an error in your design, then all those boards goes waste. So here is, you can see a chicken and egg kind of thing. You can do the project, you just need time and budget. But customer says, first show me a successful POC, then I give you the budget and time. So many of the projects are stuck at this stage, especially in India, because of this chicken and egg story. So at this point of time, you might be thinking, so that is how the idea of WishTree came to us and we built it. Not really like that. So that needs a lot of vision and experience. So it actually went like this. We were also stuck in this chicken and egg story for quite a few months. Then we started picking up a few projects, a few POCs. very low pricing, but we could see some potential in them. We could see if this kind of projects will help us like getting similar projects in future, and this has got a lot of potential of learning, and this learning will be useful in future projects. So we started doing those. So the first project that we received was a beehive monitoring project. Okay, so I talk a lot about this project in my webinars. So beehive monitoring is very popular in the Western world. It is comparatively new in India, but a few startups are doing good work in that field. So in beehive monitoring, we needed to monitor a few beehive boxes placed closely together, and we needed to send some data to a master. So we used ESP8266 module, and we created one board. So we created this Wi-Fi mesh because we had to also keep the power consumption and cost very low. So only ESP8266 are the minimum parts that those are needed. So we created this Wi-Fi mesh and sent the data to the master. Okay, and parallelly then we started doing working on another project that involved GSM network. So what we did, we just used this controller board, okay, and then we added a GSM model to it. So that is how that GSM project was done. And by that time this beehive project was successful also, but at a site there was situation like the master was 1 kilometer away from these boxes, okay, because there is no power source there, so it had to be kept somewhere in a building which is 1 kilometer away. Okay, so then we started using LoRa modules, okay, LoRa communication, because it can like talk up to 2-3 kilometers. So what we did, we already had that socket for GSM module on our board. So we used this RFM95 module. We created adapter board for that module, and we kept the pin the same so that it goes onto the same that GSM socket. So that is how we got LoRa, GSM and ESP8266 on that same board. But when we started using LoRa, the new problem is LoRa uses SPI protocol, right? So you need chip select, MISO, MOSI, so you spend a lot of pins in communication alone. So you are left with very few numbers of pin for your sensors, because you know ESP8266 do not have many GPIOs. So we had to switch over to ESP32. And then we didn't make a new board for ESP32, but we did, it was very tedious, but we extended the functionality of the existing board and we inserted a ESP32 there. So now on that board we have ESP8266, ESP32, LoRa, GSM, and because of ESP32 we have got inbuilt Bluetooth and BLE. So by that time we started calling it WishTree, because we could also realize that I can really wish any project and build it on this board, right? So that is how the catch line wish it, build it came. So that is how this WishTree board evolved over time. In next few years we did some projects. So almost every time for a POC or for proving our capability, we used WishTree board, right? So because we used it so many times, it has gone through many development cycle and it has stabilized. We have made it multi-layer to keep the footprint smaller, because many a times it is used in a retrofit project where we need to insert it somewhere like in an existing panel box. So that is where it is very useful, and also it benefited us because all the projects are not like having 1000 or 5000 devices. There are projects that needs only 20, 30, 50 devices. So then we offer to customer directly this WishTree board, because we say then see, if you take this board directly ready boards off the shelf and this is the rate, there is no development charges, no development time. But if you want to develop a board, customized board for this purpose itself, then it will take your development time and budget. So customers are also very prudent, they know what is good for them, so they directly choose this board. So that is how it helps us. And the other point is, now we can deliver POC like in 2 weeks at max, so very easy for us. Even there were occasion when we delivered a POC over the weekend, because we have cloud infra, we have the front end, something there already, and customer only need to see something like a data coming up to the cloud and showing them in the dashboard. So we did it, we pulled it up over a weekend. So that is what is now possible. And then over the years we did many projects, so we saw some basic functionalities that are needed by almost all projects, we have 3.3 volt and 5 volt both available on our board, because we see there are sensors which are running on 5 volt, which are running some are running on 3.3 volt. So we made both the voltages available on WishTree. And then we have MOSFET drivers, because some of the projects need very low current, ultra low current deep sleep mode. So to cut off all the sensors during this deep sleep, we use this MOSFET switch. Okay, and this is driven by a transistor, so all this are there on this board. And then we have a voltage divider there, because if there is an analog input from some sensor, if the input value is very high, you can trim it down so that your controller can tolerate the voltage that is passed to it. So this kind of features are already there. Like there's a mode switch, we can switch on the device like in normal run mode, in OTA update mode, in configuration mode. So we over the years saw many common functionalities that are normally required to be there in an MVP, I mean minimum viable product. So that is what is WishTree board now, that is what we have built over years, and that is how it evolved. So why I tell this story to everyone, so I have heard and read a lot about product development, product management. So this is something we did from ground up. We saw it evolve in front of our eyes, and now it is like being loved by our customers. It is serving their purpose, it is saving their money and time. So I think this is a very nice example of a product development or management. So this is it. I hope you have enjoyed the story and found the journey quite interesting, and also you might have collected a few very good pointers about how to navigate IoT industry. So I am closing it here. Thank you very much for your time. Thanks for listening to me. I wish you all the success. Thank you. Bye bye.